For all your email management needs, look no further than Aweber, the preferred choice for geekoutdoors.com. Sign up today and you could get a 30-day free trial by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below. Hey, welcome to another episode of geekoutdoors.com. So I just got done watching the Avengers Season 1. And on this episode, I'm actually going to be leaving my review of all the episodes. And there will be spoilers, so if you've not seen this, go ahead and go watch it on Netflix and then come back for the review. Now, The Defenders is basically the Avengers on Netflix, and it's in the whole universe of what Netflix has built. So if you remember, each one of these characters from the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and the Iron Fist, they actually had all their own separate shows, and now they're all combined here in The Defenders. So it's 4 different characters. And overall, what are my thoughts on it? Well, in general, I think it was good in some parts. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by that. Now, in terms of the actual shows that I've watched, to be honest with you, the only show that I watched all the way through was Luke Cage. Okay, I haven't watched Daredevil, although I watched parts of it. I haven't watched Jessica Jones, and I haven't watched Iron Fist. Okay, but if you have not seen any of these episodes, then you'll still be able to watch The Defenders. However, there would be things like side characters or maybe backgrounds of the characters that you might not get, but you don't necessarily have to watch all those other shows to actually watch The Defenders. And so when I mean that it's good in certain parts, well, let me explain that in a way that I think for people who've watched this whole season would understand. So the first 3 episodes, there's actually 8 episodes total. The first 3 episodes, they're really slow. Okay, it's a lot of like setup, a lot of reintroducing yourself to the characters. Okay, Luke Cage when he gets out of prison, Matt Murdock after what happened in season 2 where he's no longer the Daredevil, Iron Fist after he defeated one of the henchmen and he's actually looking for the hand all around the world with Colleen, and then with, I think, Jessica Jones, where she is investigating some missing person, okay? And so, in a lot of ways, it is a continuation of what happened with each one of these characters' separate shows, okay? And so, for the first 3 episodes, it's like, actually, it's kind of boring. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? And they introduced the Hand again, but they introduced Sigourney Weaver, who is the top leader of the Hand. So if you're not familiar with the Hand, there's actually 5 different fingers if you think about it, you know. And there's Gao from the Iron Fist. I can't remember the other one, Baku. I think he's also for Iron Fist as well. And then there is this Japanese guy. There is this Sawanda. I think he's an African character. And then the final one, obviously, is Sigourney Weaver. Okay, so it lets you in more on the Hand as the leaders. Okay, and so in other shows in Netflix, the Hand, they've had their hand to make a quote in everything. Okay, especially if you watch the Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen, the Hand played a big part of that. But they've actually been around in every single one of these episodes, and also in Iron Fist as well. And so because of that, things move way too slow, in my opinion. And even when they started like getting people up to speed, especially also with the side characters, and I'll get into that a little bit later, I think it was like kind of unnecessary for it to take 3 episodes, you know. And it wasn't until like the last part of 3rd episode where they all went and tried to take down Sigourney Weaver at one of her buildings. Okay, and that was a cool shot. You probably saw the trailer where all of them were fighting within this room together, and that was cool, you know. But it took like 3 episodes to get to that point. And it's not to say that this whole season has to be nothing but action, but sometimes, you know, the pacing, you know, they can make that more interesting and better throughout. Okay, now this is very similar, in my opinion, to what happened in Luke Cage. You know, where in Luke Cage, I think the first half of it was really good, okay? But then the second half of it was very boring. I would say very slow. I wouldn't say completely boring, but it wasn't as interesting, okay? So it was really, really slow, and it was very I guess, repetitive, okay? And that's one of the things that really bothered me, or really like took down my entertainment, let's just say that, with the Defenders, is because they repeat a lot of things, okay? And so, like I said, for the first 3 episodes, a lot of build-up, a lot of setup, very slow reintroductions. And then it isn't until episodes 4 to 6 that things get good. You know, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there are moments of really awesome action, more into the characters. And so you get reintroduced to characters like Stick. Stick was really cool. And also Elektra, of course. Elektra's in there, and she plays a big part in this show, and I'll go into that a little bit further. And then also, like I said, the characters from Iron Fist as well. Gao, and also Buka, I think Bako, I can't remember. He's one of the Hand, but he's also the sensei of Colleen, okay? And then also some characters from Luke Cage as well. Misty, Daredevil, there was Froggy, and I can't remember her name. And then from Jessica Jones, her talk show friend. And then there were other side characters as well. You know, so if you watch any of the individual shows, you would recognize a lot of these, and they kind of hint back at what happened in previous shows as well, you know, but they don't take too long into it. So that's kind of good for people who've never seen any of those other shows. And like whenever you're watching 4, 5, and 6, it really builds up on what the Defenders are. You know, them coming together, you get more motivations of why Sigourney Weaver, who is the head of the Hand, is doing what she's doing. And also, you get a lot of like internal conflict with their personalities and stuff, okay? And you also learn more in a lot of ways about why Elektra is there, but then you don't at the same time. So there's still like some mystery as to why Elektra, or in this case, I think she's called Black Sky, is so important, okay? But after like episode 6, the last 2 episodes, 7 and 8, and I can't remember if it was like the last half of 6, it just falls apart, you know? And this is where like I don't understand why they did what they did. Well, so here's the big spoilers part, okay? So Sigourney Weaver, she gets killed. And she gets killed by Elektra, which makes no sense to me. That came out of the blue, and so I don't know if that was actually something that was supposed to surprise us, or it was supposed to be like a moment in the show. You know, I didn't really understand that, okay? I mean, at some point you're thinking, oh, did Alexandria, who is Sigourney Weaver's character, did she actually go into Elektra's body? You know, that didn't make sense. And it also really didn't make sense why they would use that substance. And what the substance is, and I'll talk about the substance a little bit later, but it gives these 5 Hand characters basically immortality in a way. Because with this substance, which is a blood substance, along with some powdered material, it gives them immortality, okay? Up to a certain point. They have to keep taking the substance in order to stay alive. So they've been around for hundreds of years, okay? So these are very old characters. But the reason why they brought Elektra back, at the beginning, you're not really sure, okay? I mean, maybe she has some really super new powers, or maybe she might be a vessel, as Sigourney Weaver's character, Alexandra, alluded to so much. I kind of thought that maybe Alexandra herself would actually be transferred to Elektra's body, okay? That's kind of what I thought. But then, as you go along, you know, it's just Elektra, you know, and she actually gets a lot of her memories back, and it just made no sense, okay? And now I'm going to get to the things that, you know, I really did not enjoy, you know. So in terms of what I enjoyed, let me go ahead and talk about those first, because 4 through 6 were the most enjoyable. I really did enjoy the interaction between the actors and actresses in this show, specifically the main characters. Now, out of all the actors in the show, actor and actress, the ones I enjoyed the most were definitely Matt Murdock as the Daredevil, and also Jessica Jones. You know, Jessica Jones, she played off really well, had a really sarcastic humor, and since I've never seen the show, now it makes me interested to watch the show, because she's a really good character. Now, Luke Cage himself, he's good, you know, but not anything special, okay? And Iron Fist as Finn, very forgettable as a character, okay? But their interactions, I enjoyed that, but I enjoyed more of Stick. I mean, Stick was really funny, and so that makes me want to watch Daredevil as well, you know, watch Stick and also Matt Murdock. And so those are my favorite characters. Now, in terms of the other characters, Sigourney Weaver definitely was awesome in this show. Okay, and it's unfortunate that she died the way she did and that they didn't develop her even more. I was expecting something greater out of her character, and it's unfortunate they ended it that way. Now, the other hand characters, they were all forgettable as well. They might as well been just additional henchmen because they're very cliche, very cookie cutter. I just did not enjoy watching them at all. And then all the other side characters, and I guess this is getting into the bad part. So I discussed the good part ending with Sigourney Weaver, and now the bad part is the other characters, okay? So first starting with the people from the hand, the other main hand characters, I talked about that, but also the side characters, I didn't really care about any of them, and Froggy, he was funny. I did like that, but I didn't like the other character. Misty, from Luke Cage, I never liked her character, to be honest with you. And if anything, her and the other Daredevil character, I can't remember her name, but they actually slowed down the show, and even when I watched Luke Cage, Misty slowed down the show there as well, her character, okay? So I don't understand why they are such significant roles in the whole Defender storyline. They could have just made a quick reference to it, like I said, maybe in the first 2 episodes, and then they would show up every now and then, that would be it. But they were in way too much of this particular show. Okay, and that's another thing that I did not like about the Defenders. This is very similar to Luke Cage. That's why I said the second half of Luke Cage was not as good. Why? Because they focus so much on the story of the cops, okay, the NYPD, this whole case. And if you watch Luke Cage, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. It became more like a cop show, but it makes no sense. These are superheroes, and so why would the superheroes be spending all their time worried about a murder case or a missing persons case? Or why would the NYPD, DEA, FBI, they're like unimportant? These are superheroes, and so I would rather they not focus on that. But unfortunately, very similar to Luke Cage, they focus a lot of their time on that instead of the central characters, the story that's behind the scenes. That's more important, okay? And then, like the final episode, okay, very anticlimactic, okay? I mean, it didn't have a great payoff. Them just going into the building, setting bombs, and then having final battles. That was really boring. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, especially like the last scene where, they were fighting underground against all these pretty much useless henchmen. And then the main battles, that was boring. I mean, it really was. It's just come right after another, fight each other, and that's about it. Okay. And also, one thing I didn't understand, okay, Elektra, she's a human, just like Daredevil. Okay. But yet, in a lot of this show, as Black Sky, she's considered a very important, powerful character. I mean, so much so that Sigourney Weaver's character actually used the last of the substance to bring her back to life. But why? I kind of thought there was going to be something more into that, but there wasn't. And so it's weird, like, she's like powerful, right? So powerful. She's made about to be so powerful, right? And I kind of thought maybe that substance gave her more power. And at some point, she's like beating all of the Defenders by herself, which makes absolutely no sense. And in some cases, when she's going one-on-one or like one-on-two, like when she goes against Matt Murdock and stuff, she could get beat easily, okay? And especially if you think about a character like Luke Cage or Jessica Jones, they could easily destroy her, especially Luke Cage, because, he's impervious to bullets, so he's really strong. So I don't see how Elektra, without any additional superpowers, could have taken all of them on. And like I said, her powers are uneven. Like sometimes she'll beat all 4 of them or all multiple of the Defenders all at the same time by herself. But in some other scenes, she can't even take on individual characters. Like when she's going against Daredevil, Daredevil could have beat her. They're even, but not even. You know what I'm saying? And so that didn't make any sense to me. And then, like I said, when she kills Sigourney Weaver's character, that really made no sense, because then everything that is set up Elektra or to be as this very important figure, this very important character, they completely threw that away. And so, made no sense to me. I don't know why she was even there. I mean, even though she is a great character, especially, I guess if you watch Daredevil, she's very important. But in this case, they built her up, and very much like Sigourney Weaver, they built up this character so much, but yet they kind of threw all of that away in a way that just didn't make sense. Okay? And then also the representation of the hand. It's made to be this all-powerful, everlasting organization built with a lot of powers, you know, everywhere. But in the end, even the top 5 hand, like I said, they're more like super henchmen. I'm like, what? You know, and so it takes away a lot of those, you know, elements of power, mystery, and everything else. Okay, it's made it very unbelievable. Okay, and so you know, by the end of the show, you know, we supposedly are made to think that Daredevil dies along with Elektra, but you know, in the end, he shows up in a hospital or a hospital bed somewhere, and he's alive. All right, and all the other characters, they kind of go back to what they were doing. Okay, and yeah, the payoff wasn't there. I felt like at the end, I just wanted to get done watching it. Okay, and so that's why I said the Defenders season 1, it's actually good, but only at certain parts, and only the certain parts is, in my opinion, episodes 4 through 6. The rest of the first 3 episodes were really boring, and they were slow, and then the other last 2 episodes, they were just meh, you know, I mean, like, it just kind of like broke down. And so, yeah. So anyways, those are my thoughts on the Defenders season 1. You know, if you have Netflix, you enjoyed the other seasons, check it out. You know, if you haven't seen it, I'm not sure, unless you're a huge Marvel fan, then I'm not sure if it's worth watching all the seasons. You know, I mean, I would say just watch episodes 4 through 6, you know, and if that interests you, then you can watch the other episodes. At least you would get the best parts of the show. And so if you've seen it and you had any thoughts on it, whether it's good or bad, be sure to leave it in the comments area below. And as always, if you did enjoy these videos, leave a like and subscribe. And if you wanted to support my channel further, you could do that at patreon.com/Geek Outdoors. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.